Hey everybody, what's up? The NFL decided to move the kickoff, so we thought we'd move things around too. Doesn't seem to be working as well. Let's go to the show! Yo! Welcome into another episode of Too Much Bestball. Yes, the show brought to you by Fantasy Football Advice Network that's going to bring you everything best ball. We're here sponsored by Underdog, here to bring you as much that we can to help you win all of the tournaments, all of your home leagues, all of those fun little leagues you jump in with those random guys at the Fantasy Football Expo. If you're going there, let's go. This show is sponsored by Underdog. Don't know what best ball is? It's simple. You enter the big board tournament on Underdog's slick mobile app, draft your team, and that's it. Yep. Set it and forget it as Underdog optimizes your lineup weekly to create the highest scoring one. It's here and it's your shot at the first place prize. Get signed up at UnderdogFantasy.com or via the App Store with the promo code FFAdvice, and we'll double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code FFAdvice. So first off today, I want to talk about best ball quarterbacks. And there's so many different ways you can go about that. Whether you take an early guy and take a bunch late, you take a few middling, and then that's it. But I'm here to talk about mistakes that we can make with these early guys. In a year that we had so many injuries to the top position, we saw the likes of, Deshaun Watson, whether you feel he's good or not, he got knocked out. Daniel Jones, a high rushing quarterback with a decent fantasy finish usually, he was knocked out of this game. We also saw the likes of Kyler Murray miss the first handful of games coming off that ACL. Joe Burrow was knocked out for most of the season. Kirk Cousins was knocked out. And then Aaron Rodgers. We got 4 snaps from the guy. So I think we missed out on a lot of those typical top-end quarterbacks. And we saw guys like Jordan Love hit 5, Brock Purdy at 6, Jared Goff at 7, Tua at 9, Baker at 11, CJ Stroud at 12. I think that with all of these injuries, had only half of them occurred, because we usually don't have that many top name guys go down, this list would be a lot different. And I think it would give us a different perspective of how we go into this. Because right now, CJ Stroud at QB6, I do not like that at all. This guy's going to have to throw 33, 35 plus touchdowns to be able to finish that top number. And you're also probably going to need a handful of injuries. When you have guys like Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, all of these guys that have such a high rushing floor, it's hard for these pocket passing quarterbacks to really be able to excel. Yes, he did, finish his top 11 option. Do they get another wide receiver in this draft to really help? We've got them all coming back. Tank Dell's coming off that injury, so he should be good to go. But I just don't like it, especially with the ADP of nearly 60 overall. When you can back off just a little bit and you still get one of those top flashy names like Dak Prescott at 77. Jordan Love, I think, is a huge candidate to be throwing over 30 touchdowns this season. He's got 4 very young wide receivers that look great, 2 guys that are coming off great rookie seasons, and then also you add in Josh Jacobs to the mix, another pass-catching back. So I think that sets him up for a better year than CJ Stroud's does because of that separation between QB6 and QB9. Granted, it's only a couple of rounds difference, but those 2 rounds make a world of difference when you're coming to wide receiver drafting. Another strategy I'm trying to take right now is getting those late guys. Kyler Murray, he's up there, yes, at QB10, but that rushing floor is great. You've also got Justin Herbert. Tons of question marks, I'm sure. We have no one to throw it to except QJ. We don't like that. We've got a guy that just wants to run the ball, but he's still talented. Maybe QB12 might be right about his ceiling right now with the way we've got things projected, but you never know. They have a top 6 pick, top 5 pick. Do they get Nabors? Do they get Marvin? Or they're taking a tackle? I know, it's boring. It sucks. But then also you've got guys like Caleb Williams. Yes, he is a rookie. We don't typically like to trust those, but with DeAndre Swift in the backfield, with Cole Kmet and Everett as your tight ends, and then also DJ Moore and Keenan Allen on the outside, this is a great passing offense, and I think he has a decent chance to perform pretty well, especially with a defense that took huge steps last year, which, putting him in a good position. Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, more guys that you're getting at QB 15, 16, and 17, great discounts. He doesn't have Jefferson anymore, but he's going to Drake London, and he's got Darnell Mooney, who should be a good deep threat. We still have Kyle Pitts over there. We've got Bijan catching the ball. There's a chance that they take another wide receiver. Who knows? I just love that. Jared Goff, again, another guy that could see a rookie wide receiver with decent capital come in there. They've got one of those last first-round picks. Maybe Jamison Williams is the guy. Maybe he steps forward, but we still have Amon-Ra. We still have the pass-catching running backs. And, of course, Sam Laporta, who broke out as a tight end last year. So just with the cost baked in, I just don't understand how you are taking CJ Stroud so much higher when all of this discount is there below. Adjust, people. Don't fall on the hype. I love what CJ Stroud is doing for the NFL and what he's helping for the Texans, despite the Colts stuff. Still happy for him from the league, but I just take a cheaper CJ Stroud later in the draft. All right, next thing I want to talk to you about is stacking. The correlation that we've seen with stacking in these best ball tournaments, and it's unmatched. It's undefeated. Between that and zero RB, you really can't argue too much that these strategies are just, they work. They work well. Because we don't have the NFL schedule right now, we don't know where these teams are playing. If you want to take the best educated guess, these teams are usually going to play division games there at the end of the season, so you can very much stack teams within that range. But I'm going to give you 3 teams here that I think are great stacking partners for your elite teams that you have that you can get way later in your draft. And, who doesn't love some double and triple stacks in best ball here? So let's get started with the New Orleans Saints. Now, I said these are cheap teams. That's why you kind of threw up in your mouth a little bit. Saints are gross. But you know what got grosser with the Saints? No, not their cap. Their defense. This defense is so damn old. Cam Jordan, I'm pretty sure he helped establish the first defensive line that was ever created. This dude is just ancient. I say that, and he's only a few years older than me. Shh. But as far as the NFL goes, these guys are so old, and I think this could be a top 5, top 8 scored on defense this year. Which, what does that do? That gives Derek Carr a great position. Essentially, kind of like the Jameis Winston interceptions we got from Tampa several years ago. Derek Carr should be on the field nonstop with this terrible defense of the Saints. So getting him at QB 27 is a huge deal. A guy that's going to give you a good floor for, the injuries that you may see in those top taken guys. Say you get an Anthony Richardson. You got a nice little car to help carry him there to the end if he's not able to because of injuries. Alvin Kamara coming in at RB18. Not too much you're spending for him, especially in these half PPR formats, because that's what the big board tournament is. Of course, we're going to get a lot of full PPR, which is really where he's going to shine. But getting a guy with that sort of upside from a guy like Derek Carr, who dumps it off constantly, still decent discount. Kendre Miller, the young, should be 21 years old running back from TCU last year. He showed some flashes there at the end. So if for some reason he ends up overtaking Kamara, you're getting him at RB46. He does have that pass catching upside, so there is some of that. And that's what you want. We want the zero RB strategy. That's where you take it because you're taking them way late in the draft. As far as pass catchers go, we've got Olave going at wide receiver 18. He's going about 27 ADP, so you will be spending up a little bit more on him to get this full stack. But this year 3, I think we're going to see a huge step from him. There was a lot of people clamoring for it last year. We just didn't see it happen with Derek Carr. But I think another year in the system, his air yards were just, you're like frothing at the mouth at this. I think Olave has a great chance to have more of that breakout season after that rookie year this year than he did last year. Raheed Shaheed and A.T. Perry, these are a couple of second, third year players that are burners. These guys just jet down the freaking field. And you do not want them in Dynasty. You don't want them in redraft, but this is where they shine. There is a bucket of players that just... I'm pretty sure that's why best ball was invented. For those players that you just don't know what the hell to do with, but there's still potential. And that's what these guys bring. Derek Carr loves stretching the ball down the field. If he's really down in points, he's going to need to score. And I think these guys are going to give you a handful of games this year that are going to be, that very big boom bust that you're looking for. So getting them at wide receiver 60 and 97, they're free, nearly free. And of course, Juwan Johnson finally gets that tight end room to himself. No more Taysom Hill, no more Jimmy Graham, no more BS. It's just him to catch his 5 to 7 touchdowns a year. I think we've seen Derek Carr. Loves himself a tight end, like checking on down. No. Juwan Johnson, great late round guy to pair with maybe an early tight end that you take. Maybe a Trey McBride as we segue over to the Cardinals. Yes, the Cardinals, we saw them play so much better defense than we expected last year. They beat the Cowboys. They had 2 or 3 other games that they really held these teams back. I think the 49ers, they gave them a run for their money at one point. But again, we've got an expensive piece in this group with Trey McBride going as tight end 23, 50 overall. But we got discounts. We got discounts flying everywhere. You get a player. Call me Oprah. I'm just tossing them everywhere here. James Conner, last year the contract. They didn't go out and get anyone. They've got a couple of decent guys behind him. This says wheels up. Let's go. James Conner is going to be the guy. Is he a top 5? No, absolutely not. But is he as long as he's out on the field, he's going to give you the work, and you're going to see enough work that RB22, I think he should break that ADP no problem. Moving down the list, we do have Kyler. We touched on him with the quarterbacks. At QB 10, I think is a great price. Kyler all time is top 5 in points per game scored because when he's on the field, when he's healthy, when he's there, when he's ready, he's just running all over the place. He can throw it. He can get the ball out. And rumor has it, he's probably getting a top guy in Malik Nabors or Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's another thing I'm a fan of. Maybe not necessarily getting the Marvin Harrison because I do not like his wide receiver 10. It's going to be such a challenge for him to bring back on that ADP. As a rookie, I think he's capable. We're going to see great things from him, but I just don't want to take that bet on him there at wide receiver 10. But a guy that's been comped to nearly as great as him, Malik Nabors is going 13 positions later at wide receiver 23. So maybe the Cardinals, if you're getting in that mindset that they're going to trade back, give that fourth quarterback slot to the Vikings or who have you, they trade back and then trade back up for a little bit. Malik Nabors is a great thing to try and pair with Kyler if you're trying to get a correlation there. Other wide receivers, you have Greg Dortch at wide receiver 91, and then Michael Wilson at wide receiver 68. So much like the Saints, these are very cheap guys. You're not spending high draft capital on, but you're able to clean up with some of these later wide receiver picks in your draft and still get that correlation that you want. And the last guy from the Cardinals, Michael Carter. Like we said, James Conner is going to get the majority of this, but we saw last year Michael Carter involved, especially in the passing game. So if he's catching a handful of balls, he has a good matchup that week, or maybe James Conner goes down. Michael Carter at RB72 is a great snag, I think, if you're going for some sort of Cardinal correlation or even just NFC West. And the last team I want to talk about here is the Carolina Panthers. And there we go. Oh, dropping. Yep, people are just dropping views left and right. Guys, there could be a huge prize I'm giving away at the end. I could have some secret news, some awesome footage, and you're leaving. Hold your horses because this is going to go quick. But the Carolina Panthers, they're written off. Bryce Young, are there believers out there? I don't think there's many. But going as QB 28, picking him up as your second or third quarterback, he's not going to be, I can't even say the words, not bad. But maybe he's not going to be a ceiling guy for you. But if you're inevitably going for those rushing quarterbacks and you need somebody to fill in for those weeks for injuries or bye week, stuff like that, you have to have multiple quarterbacks. He's going to be one that there's late. And I think tying him with Deontay Johnson is great. Wide receiver 43. And look at the Panthers go. Mistake after mistake after mistake, but they're able to get a fourth round pick to bring one of the best active route runners we have in the NFL right now at Deontay Johnson. This dude's easily going to see 140 targets this season. And I don't see how that type of work just doesn't replicate. Like wide receiver 43, you've got to be freaking kidding me. There's no way he doesn't even get, I could see him finishing half as, like it's ridiculous. Adam Thielen, who was hot garbage. Nobody would even give you anything for him at the back half of the season after that incredible beginning of the spurt. But despite him being horrific the second half of the season, he still finishes wide receiver 25 in half PPR. He finished with 1,000 yards. He was 103 for 136. You're telling me that Deontay Johnson, who is a younger, better version of Adam Thielen, he can't get open? Of course he can. That's all he's done his career. He's played with washed up Ben and then mediocre quarterback after mediocre quarterback. So you're saying he's going to fret at giving him another mediocre quarterback? No. He's probably like, all right, give it to me. All these quick passes, I don't have to run down the field. But I just don't understand how it's gross. I get it. That's best ball. You get like 15 wide receivers. You don't have to look at how gross it is. You get some other pretty ones to make it look better. Chuba Hubbard, running back 38. It looks like he has usurped Miles Sanders despite that contract being there. They can't do anything, pick up another guy. They're not going to spend draft capital on a running back. So I think Hubbard and Sanders at running backs 38 and 58. Decent shot at him. Hubbard's probably going to give you more work, but who knows? Sanders still there. And then as far as stacking Thielen and Mingo, I don't like either one. Wide receiver 72 and 96 respectively. Mingo, his yards per route run at a rookie, despite how much work he got. It's just, I'm not willing to buy into it. If I am picking one, I guess I'll go with Thielen at wide receiver 72, just if he's able to pick apart the defense a little bit, if all the focus goes to Deontay Johnson. But I just don't know if Mingo has the upside. If anything, he just ends up turning into a red zone threat, just being the bigger bodied receiver in that wide receiver class. But that is it, everybody, for this episode of Too Much Bestball. Come at me back next week. Of course, we'll have a couple more episodes with fun strategy talk. I'm going to be bringing on others to give you information. And don't forget to use that FF advice code if you are a new member, up to $100 match for all the first-time players. But I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me today. Like, subscribe. Like I said, you can find me on Twitter at @too_much_Brian. You can find me on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. All my other podcasts, reach out to me. Let me know what you want to see, and I got it for you. Until then, though, we'll see you next time. Must be 18 years or older, 19 in Alabama and Nebraska, 21 in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. In Tennessee, call 1-800-889-9789. Okay. Literally recording this about to post it, and we get the news. Stefon Diggs is going to Houston for a handful of BS. So, still on my Stroud at QB6 is a lot. Don't know if I want him, especially now. That might go up to QB5. But I now think that he is now in that realm that he could throw for 30 touchdowns, which is what you need from a pocket passing quarterback. So, take that as you will. Holy shit. Where does this put Stefon Diggs? Tank Dell is now plummeting. Nico Collins is going to plummet a bit. Or do they? Just Diggs is it really just nothing. Like, I'm processing this with you live as we're seeing here, people. So it's, oh my God, what an offense. D'Amico Ryans, just what this franchise has been able to do over the last few seasons is just incredible. So congrats to Houston. Hopefully Diggs isn't spent, but this will definitely add some fun. That's for sure.